Hello and welcome to Off With Their Headlines. It's Meredith Constant. I am here with the gorgeous, the stripy,
Yeah. You're stripy
Amanda
too. Look
Matta.
at your sunbeam.
I know I was set up perfectly until right now. And now
Yeah.
I just have, guys,
I like it.
it is what it is. It's a Monday.
Avant-garde.
It's too dang hot. I don't have my fan on in my room, so I am trying to stay as still as possible so I don't start, schwitzing during this recording. So I'm just going to do the best I can.
That's all any of us can do in these somehow still unprecedented times.
I'm sick
But
of
one thing
living
that
through
always-
unprecedented times.
One thing that always keeps us going is the bananas royal news media landscape. But before we get into that, just a reminder, we do have a Patreon for the show. That is patreon.com/offwiththeirheadlines, where you can get bonus episodes. You can join as a free member to just join our little discussions that we post now and then. There are other tiers that get you video episodes, our eternal undying love, etc. So go check that out if you want a little bit more from us. Also, if you're not interested in joining the community there, but you do like video episodes, just wait a week, head over to YouTube. They're all right there. Just a week later.
I've started making the cover art for our YouTube videos, the thumbnails, and I put a lot of thought into those, and they can be incredibly amusing. There's little gems hidden in there.
Like little Easter eggs.
And I giggle. I am giggling every time I do it because they're all related to the episode. There's always someone different saying subscribe now and off with their headlines, and I rather enjoy it. So go over there, check it out. I have such a good time with it.
Well, she does a great job, folks. Give it up for Meredith. Should we dive right in, though?
Oh my gosh, let's. We have so much to talk about today. We are covering everything. We have crazy headlines. We have William's 43rd birthday, summer recs for movies, TV shows, all that jazz. And as ever, had another drop and has a boozy
I thought
promise
you were going to make like a pun
for July.
Like, as ever, we have blah, blah, blah. And I was like, are we done with this pun now, Meredith? But it was just a sentence.
Here's the thing. I couldn't do that because I was congratulating myself in my head for not breaking out into Chicago's All That Jazz when I said All That Jazz. So I couldn't even think about an as ever pun while I was self-congratulating in my head for not breaking out into and all that jazz.
Well, you've done it now. So tale as old as time. Yeah, I think we want to have some fun with headlines today because there have been some interesting ones.
What are we doing here, people? What are we doing here?
It's surprising because summer is the Royals' busy season, so there's no real need for the batshit say nothing in so many words headlines.
No need.
So we just wanna like kick back, kick off our shoes, and dissect some of these today. So I have a few here for Meredith. And I want you to like tell me, first of all, with this one, what you think happened just from the headline. Okay. This is from Great GB News, Great Britain News, I assume.
Great. I thought you mean like the great.
No. GBN. Princess Kate's sudden withdrawal from royal ascot, quote, triggered by blunder as health update issued. Royal sources have stressed there is no cause for alarm.
Wait. Her withdrawal is triggered
by blunder.
And I'm looking at the headline right now, and that's in quotations.
Mm-hmm.
So someone said it.
Someone said it.
But there's no cause for alarm. But it was triggered by blunder.
Her withdrawal was triggered by a blunder. So where does your head go? Like, what's the scenario you paint for yourself reading that headline?
My first thought is that horse allergy thing, which I now know is not true.
Debunked.
And now I'm thinking, does it have something to do with like the carriage list or something? The printed carriage
getting close.
list.
Yep.
Something about them being printed in the order and something. I don't even. What?
You're kind of right. So
what?
Here's the opening. Princess Kate's sudden withdrawal from the royal procession on the second day of Ascot was due to an administrative error rather than any health-related issue. Sources close to the royal family have confirmed.
Wait, what?
Just wait. The Princess of Wales' unexpected absence from Royal Ascot yesterday raised eyebrows after she withdrew from the event seemingly at the 11th hour. Palace insiders moved quickly to quell any speculation, insisting the situation stemmed from administrative confusion rather than health concerns. Royal aides emphasized that Kate was continuing to balance her return to public life after her cancer diagnosis, maintaining the careful approach she had previously outlined for resuming official engagements. The confusion became apparent when Prince William attended the Berkshire racecourse alone to present the Prince of Wales Stakes trophy, despite earlier expectations that his wife would accompany him in the traditional carriage procession from Windsor. So, if I'm reading this correctly, what we're supposed to believe is that she was maybe never supposed to be there, and it was just an administrative error putting her on the program. But then we go on. Royal sources stressed there was no cause for alarm. Kate was adhering to the guidance previously given about finding the right equilibrium in her duties. I don't know if that actually counts as guidance, but it's fine. Sources revealed she was disappointed not to attend the races, but had to find the right balance in her schedule. They end with the administrative mix-up unfolded when the Ascot executives released the day's procession list at midday, listing both the Prince and Princess of Wales in the second carriage behind the King and Queen. Just 22 minutes later, revised guidance emerged, confirming Kate would not be attending, with officials acknowledging an inaccurate version had been issued in error. The last-minute change necessitated a reshuffle of the carriage arrangements, blah, blah, blah. So they want us to think it was administrative error, but the statements on the day were she's disappointed not to be attending. If she was never supposed to be there, she wouldn't be disappointed. I think she doesn't like Royal Ascot to begin with, so I don't
You
think she was
can't
disappointed at all.
re-engineer this. You
That's
cannot
literally what's happening.
re-engineer this
That's
to be
what
like,
is
no,
happening.
actually, it was an administrative error.
Yeah,
It's a
the
little
administrative
finding
error,
someone else to blame.
The administrative error, I think, is, sure, maybe posting the list, but I think Kate was still supposed to be there because that list existed. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they knew ahead of time that she wouldn't be there and accidentally still posted the list of the carriages as it would have been if she were there, but that doesn't mean that her absence was triggered, some might say, by the blunder. That doesn't work for me.
The sequence of events, as it is stated in the headline, does not line up with the text of the article. I agree. I don't think she likes Ascot, and it's interesting that you bring that up, and I know we discussed this later, but in a Times profile of William, it's brought up that William Ascot's not really his thing, top hats and all, and he only went to one day, and that's probably seen as something that maybe Zara or someone would really take over. If William isn't really into it, you could see that Kate really wouldn't be into it either. Right. So it's very plausible that that's not her jam. And she's like, I'm run down.
It's hot. I want to go home.
I can't. I don't blame her either.
Well, of course, the comment section here, we have a comment from username GB News Fan. This poor woman has had cancer. Leave her alone. And it's just like, okay, that's fine. Whatever. But the wording still isn't wording for me, is what I come back to. Okay. Do you want another one?
Have an issue with wording. And Kate can still have suffered a medical issue that we all feel very poorly about.
Yes, absolutely.
Two things can exist. Yes, I would love another one.
All right. This one comes from the Daily Express US. Meghan's twerking video hints at readiness to address feud with Kate and William.
Are they going to have a dance-off?
Well, the deck here. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry could be set to film their own documentary series, with one source claiming it could be a nightmare for the royal family. A lot happening. A lot of information getting thrown at me here. Meghan's twerking hints at readiness to address feud.
Is it because she's exposing more behind the scenes? She might be ready to...
Kinda. But I actually don't really know. Okay, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex might be gearing up to film their own behind-the-scenes documentary series, which could potentially cause a stir within the royal family, given their history of revealing personal details. Might be. Could potentially cause. Following Meghan's now viral twerking video, experts suggest there are more indications than ever that the couple is, quote, breaking the mold, MOULD, I love it, of royal life and preparing to venture into the profitable realm of reality television. PR expert Dermot McNamara suggests it looks very much like they would love to do a reality show. Meghan is as popular as she is polarizing, and that makes TV gold. So It's purely speculation. While Meghan is slated to launch the second season of With Love Meghan, a reality show would be a first for the California-based duo. However, considering their track record of making explosive revelations when the cameras start rolling, insiders suggest that a Kardashian-style program could spell trouble for the UK royals.
Did these people not have live journals when they were younger? There are places to write fan fiction. And I don't think one has to even know that much about Meghan to know that there is no way this woman would ever do a reality show.
An unscripted reality show?
An unscripted reality show?
No.
Where there's only really so much control you can have in that situation. There is no freaking way. There's no way.
They would not let her in the editing room. It's not happening.
There's no way. This is crazy town.
So we have another source saying, quote, "We can see that Harry and Meghan don't feel that they have to stay silent anymore. It's clear in the interviews they've done and the other shows. So if they go on to film more, and especially if they discuss their relationship with William and Kate, for example, it would probably be a nightmare for the rest of the family." I think this is the only piece in the article that actually supports the headline. Meghan's twerking video hints at readiness to address feud with William and Kate. So the through line is Meghan posts video of herself doing the baby mama dance. Sources and experts talking to the Daily Express US say if she posted this, maybe she wants to do a reality show. And then
it's a slippery slope argument.
Then someone else says if they go on to film more, they could potentially discuss their relationship with William and Kate. What is this?
May I enter some new evidence into the court?
You may. Approach the bench.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. We have seen many an interview from Meghan, including one with Emma Grede that we talked about last week, that included a quote-unquote swipe at the royal family, which was she wished people would tell the truth about her. That was the only thing that was potentially about the British media, the royal family. Who can be sure?
Love when they tell on themselves by saying something
so
she
yummy.
says about the media is a swipe at the royal family.
It's
like
so
way to give the game away, folks. You've just confirmed all my suspicions.
So we have so many examples of Meghan being interviewed, being on TV, being in different situations where she has not uttered a word about the royal family, has not said William and Kate since the Netflix documentary, maybe. There's not a lot of evidence that she is going to talk about your royal family.
Their
it's
actual
actually not there.
Right.
Yeah, no,
the
it's not
relationship with members of her husband's family.
No, she is
I think
tight-lipped.
the only time she's ever talked about Kate, personally, not saying like, oh, the media compared us. I think it was to say, you don't have to hate her to love me. And you don't have to love
South
me
by Southwest.
or hate me to love her. There's one tidbit in here that the Daily Express writer says, as they withdrew from royal duties and relocated to America in 2020, the consensus was that they, the Sussexes, sought more privacy. Yet following accusations of hypocrisy upon releasing their inaugural Netflix series, they defended themselves through an official response from their global press secretary. The Duke and Duchess have never cited privacy as the reason for stepping back. This distorted narrative was intended to trap the couple into silence. I think there's something so insidious about finally acknowledging this, because nowhere else have I ever seen this official response to the backlash about the Sussexes be presented like full stop. And even here, it's not being presented in good faith. It's being presented as a way to say, well, they never said they wanted privacy, so maybe they could do a reality show. It's just, oh my god.
It's so dark and it's so disingenuous all the time. And speaking of disingenuous.
Oh, goodness. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was fun.
That was fun. Profiles of Prince William, because guess who had a birthday?
Prince William.
Mr. Prince William. His birthday was June
21st. You knew that.
I make him is he a cat? Wait, is he a Gemini or a?
He's whatever's before
Cancer,
right? No.
Gemini. So is he right on the cusp?
Let me see. June. Oh, maybe he is.
He's close.
It's a cusp day. The zodiac sign is Gemini, transitioning to Cancer later in the day.
Interesting. I need to explore. I need to explore that more.
Astrology girlies, tell us what that means for Prince William.
Yeah, what do you think? Does anyone know his birth chart? Let's talk about it. So Prince William turned 43, which meant, as if we didn't get enough, we get even more profiles of courage. Just
heaps
kidding.
and heaps.
Of what will Prince William be like as king? And what was astounding and what I sent a text to Amanda about was that the Times in particular sent out a tweet that this was the definitive profile of Prince William as king. And I said, no.
They do not get to.
First of all, the gall when other royal editors from your paper or associate editors have written profiles about how Prince William will be as king. I mean, come on, you are just, stomping on your own colleagues' work here. But we got a lot of pieces about.
Can I set the scene really quick?
Please go ahead.
So June 21st, here's what came out from the actual royal family, their official accounts. Then we'll talk about what came out from the royal family through the Times. So Kate ostensibly shared a photo of Prince William and the puppies. The puppies are getting their day in the sun. They are so cute.
Can I tell you something really rude that someone said to me? That
no,
it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
it was only a little rude. I forget if this was on our Patreon, but someone said, do you know if sorry, do you know if Rose Hanbury has a dog?
Can someone check on that for us?
I said, I need a wellness check. You can't go there. And I said, I'm kind of sad I didn't think about that myself.
Yeah, really.
It's not a bad joke. I'm just saying it's not a bad joke, okay? I'm not saying it's true. Allegedly.
Listen,
I don't know if she has.
It's a good joke.
It's a good joke. Every once in a while, you have to acknowledge a good joke. And I kept meaning to tell you about that. I'm sorry.
It's really funny.
Go on.
No,
we still don't know the father of these puppies.
Of the puppies.
We don't want to spread rumors, though.
It was a photo of William with the puppies, and the caption threw me off. Happy birthday. Love, CGCL, Orla, and the puppies.
We don't even get the names of the puppies.
The initials are so much. And I know that the royals have been signing, social media posts with the initials forever, but like the kids' names being abbreviated to initials.
Wait, I am so stupid.
Did you not know? Did you think those were the puppies? She's nodding. Catherine, George, Charlotte, Louis, Orla, and the puppies.
Oh my God, they didn't name one of the puppies Gladys after Camilla's nickname.
Oh, Orla and the puppies. Yep. And on Father's Day, I'm trying to keep it together here.
It's like an influencer's baby name where they just give a little hint.
No, it was that's his family. On Father's Day, we also had the signatures G, C, and L under Happy Father's Day, Papa, with some new photos of William and the kids. So that was from the Prince and Princess of Wales account. Then on the royal family page, which is ostensibly, or at least the Daily Mail thinks that it's King Charles directly posting, they say, happy birthday, the Prince of Wales. King Charles leads tributes with unseen portrait of William on his 43rd birthday. They posted a portrait of him in one of the royal parks, I believe. And I love this. They think it's unseen, but they're not sure. King Charles has led the tributes to Prince William on his 43rd birthday, sharing a believed to be unseen image of the heir.
So here's what's interesting with that. Typically, you'll get an embargoed press release before an anniversary, like we got with Camilla and Charles before their anniversary last year or whatever.
Yes.
That gives little updates like he's doing great, blah, blah, blah. This was photographed by, whoever. It'll answer some of those questions and give you when this was photographed. So it's very weird that there, I guess, wasn't one.
I don't think there was. No.
Or the Daily Mail didn't get it. So this kind of goes with the whole, potentially Kate and William working outside of that system. And
now Buckingham Palace too, because they're the ones that posted it. And I would agree with you because the rest of the piece, they say, in the casual snap, the Prince of Wales is seen looking pensive as he sits outside in a field of grass in a rural setting, dressed in a button-down pale blue shirt, of course, what other color, as well as navy slacks. The royal's informal look is further enhanced with his light beard. Then they talk about the caption. Immediately, we go into comment section reporting. Many royal watchers took to the message to share their own well wishes with the future king. I'm going to skip over several. This is the fourth one. Marking the passage of time, a further ex-user added, "Happy birthday, future king. I still remember you as a little boy. Hard to believe we are in the future. May you have a wonderful birthday."
Time. It passes. It moves
Marking
forward.
the passage of we live in time. So that's how the official accounts marked the passage of time.
I wonder
Prince
if
William's
anyone
birthday.
else has confirmation of if it is a new portrait or not.
Yeah, I don't know. There was another article from the Daily Mail, exclusive. Prince William's new polished and statesmanlike birthday portraits, of course, emphasize duty and leadership. Are you ready for the turn? And separate him from emotional and informal Meghan and Harry, says expert. I still don't think they know who took the portrait because they don't put it in this article. It's
That's
again
what I keep.
just
Interesting. Because
but we do know that he is statesmanlike.
well,
Do you think that was a word before the royal household started briefing it?
I have no idea. I'm tired. I'm already tired. I'm already so tired. But
You know what you need? A Clever Blends matcha. No, just kidding. Not sponsored.
not sponsored, but honestly, come on, guys. What are you doing? What are we doing here? Yeah, we got a lot of articles like this, and a lot of royal experts. The Mirror has one, "Inside Prince William's Plans to Shake Up the Monarchy While Sticking to Key Tradition." Sounds like an impossible task, but sure. Here is the deck. When Prince William becomes king, a royal expert claims that he will become a new dawn for the royal family, all while juggling his family responsibilities, centuries-long traditions, and his own passion projects. Women can have it all these days. It just reminds me of that. Like, you can have it all, girls. And then we go down. For many years, William has been one of the most relatable members of the monarchy, spreading his time between his royal responsibilities, family duties, and his own projects that he is passionate about. Here's what kills me about the William discourse. It's the complete rewrite of history.
Yes.
And the idea that we didn't live through years of media coverage excoriating him for not showing up more, for being a quote unquote part-time royal, for not showing up for Commonwealth Day that one year where he was out skiing, for work shy wills, which actually, despite what people say about Spare, Harry defends his brother and says that's BS and that was really unfair. It's weird to me though, and it shows you just how far gone the media is, that they can't even take that and say, while there was time where people feared that he, would he be up for the job? Or, he certainly had to work out some stuff in his earlier days. That time and that experience working as actually being with the people and away kind of from the royal fold all the time really got him prepared for there are so many ways to work that in and actually give a story arc where instead they've decided his life basically began in 2017 when he was an elder statesman. And it actually makes for a really uncompelling story about this
Exactly the word I was thinking. Yeah,
it is
I'm
so
not inspired.
boring.
And
then
it also, I think, speaks to the fact that they know that they can't do that narrative for William because the glaring inconsistencies with how Meghan and Harry were expected to immediately hit the ground running as full-time working royals, they just become so obvious if you point out that William and Kate were afforded several years at the beginning of their marriage while raising young children to be away from the spotlight. And yeah, they got backlash in the press for it, but we don't really acknowledge it now because we maybe acknowledge it was unfair criticism because that was not their role or the expectation of them at the time. So just a lot going on, layers, as always.
As always. And the royal expert is Richard Fitzwilliams, who believes that the future king's relatability will help to ensure the monarchy is fit for service in the 21st century. And I have to tell you something. When I'm looking for who is on the pulse of modernity, I look towards a 75-year-old British white man. So if Richard says we're going to be okay, we're going to be okay. And the thing is, there is nothing in here that tells us at all how William, and I've thought about this and talked about this on here before, how he is going to create a modern monarchy
Never.
that younger
Yeah.
generations relate to while maintaining the traditions that older people, that traditional monarchists find very important. Besides mentioning that, like, of course, opening of parliament and trooping the color will continue. Okay,
What else?
what else? Because it seems like there are other parts of having a monarchy that people care about more than just that, but it never goes deeper than that. And it just never
Well,
delivers. And that's how
can I
these
share
pieces
something
always
too?
feel.
Yeah.
Always.
Because I think the 43 is not a landmark year, right? But the one thing we do keep coming back to is he wants to lead with a purposeful vision of the monarchy slimming down. I have a source who has recently told me kind of the opposite is being whispered in palace circles. Like,
Go on.
for the people organizing these events, specifically with coronations, I think they are starting to recognize that they maybe dropped the ball with the coronation of King Charles. And they've realized people don't want the slimming down to be at those big celebrations. They don't want coronations, trooping, royal weddings to feel like a low fat version of them. They want those things are what bring the country together and what boost approval ratings, frankly, the highest for the royal family. They're already talking about Prince William's coronation, is what I've heard, specifically because they need to get the tone right. They know they didn't get it right with King Charles. And from what I've heard, the inclination right now is not to go smaller with a coronation, it is to scale it back up and like do it right, in their words.
Shiz.
So I don't know if
That's
that's Prince
very
William.
interesting.
Right. Like leading that, I highly doubt it if we're still getting these briefings on a more modern, slimmed down monarchy. So I wonder when it is his turn, is he going to be met with resistance by the institution itself, who knows that what keeps the monarchy relevant is those big celebrations? That's
I
when
think they're
people are
gonna
the
want
most
it
positive.
way more glammy, like that young turn-up toff. By young, I mean people in their 40s and 50s, which, like,
Yeah.
still young, right? No shade, but turn-up toff, the celebrity set, like, they need those kind of
Tiaras.
people. We need tiaras. Let's not act like we were cool with no tiaras.
No one
And
was okay with that.
like you said, they already got them. It's not like they had to go out and buy them. You know what's interesting that you say that? It was something that I noticed in last week's royal appointment is they wrote about the royal ascot. And the one thing that was brought up was, like, I get the whole slim down monarchy thing, but let's pack those carriages. Let's bring everyone out. Let's have a show. So it really was,
Same thing
okay.
happened with Trooping the Color. I saw a couple of posts on social media comparing the balcony to 2022, the last year that Queen Elizabeth was the monarch, leading the troops, as it were. And they used to pack every single family member who was in London onto that balcony. Like it looked like it would that balcony is not big. It is quite tiny, and it always looks like it's in danger of tumbling like into the crowd. But this slimmed down optically monarchy, I think people are realizing that's not doing what they need it to do.
Well, especially with so many of the senior royals being 70 plus and probably thinking about retiring soon. They're like, "Hey, I'm 89. I'm kinda done
I
here."
think I'm done. Thanks,
Yeah.
though.
Duke of
Yeah.
Kent's like, can I please stop?"
Yeah. Well, what else are we hearing about Prince William with his third birthday?
Let's go ahead and get into the feature piece that everyone's talking about, which is the profile from Roya Nika, who is the royal editor from The Times. She is the royal rep for The Times in the Royal Rota, who wrote the quote unquote definitive piece on Prince William.
One of the only ones. I didn't see any other exclusives that weren't just quoting from this one. This was actually blasted onto socials as well as being published in The Times. I found this as I was scrolling. I think it was Saturday morning in bed, and Roy Anika is suddenly in my ears.
A headline milestone. But for Prince William, after a year he described as brutal, it matters. His wife, Catherine, was diagnosed with cancer. His father, King Charles, is still battling the disease. A double blow. And yet, He's emerged, in the words of those close to him, in a good headspace.
Can I pause there for a second? His wife and father have cancer, but how can we make this all about William?
The framing of that caught me as strange as well. There's also a wording of that particular part. It's a little different in the article that also made me go, "Roar?"
Brutal year.
Yeah, something about brutal and cancer for Charles that I was like, yikes.
Yeah. And this is the thing with monarchy. And when you have somebody in this role as heir, like they do kind of have to be the center of attention. So somebody else's cancer treatment becomes about him. I don't know. That was the first thing that made me go, okay, I don't love
guess it is a profile on him,
Yeah,
but
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know. All right, moving on.
Quietly reevaluating what really matters to him, his family, and the institution. William is determined to modernize the monarchy, to question outdated traditions and streamline royal operations to deliver real impact. His coronation, when it comes, will break from the past. It'll be simpler, more relevant, and unifying and diverse.
Simpler, more relevant, unifying, and diverse.
What does
Again,
more relevant mean?
Oxymorons. More relevant. Does it mean they're going to update the Church of England service? Like, I don't know.
Because what makes monarchy more relevant in the 21st century? I just think some of these things are antithetical to the institution. And you either have to kind of accept those, oppositional forces.
Yeah.
Or you have to say that a monarchy is no longer relevant. You know what I mean?
That's true. Exactly. Because if it's true he's going to strip it back, then that's an acknowledgement that the system right now isn't serving the way it needs to be serving.
I feel like they just need to look at other monarchies in other countries, which I understand I'm grossly oversimplifying because I don't understand every other monarchy and the form of government that they operate within or a part of. I don't know, but it seems like there are other countries that maybe have some ideas that they could pull from. I don't know.
Yeah. Let me pull in just a little bit more because I think these are all valid questions. But I also just wonder, I think you mentioned this earlier, is this just word salad? Are these just empty, almost placeholders for now until we can actually figure out what is going to be modernized? All right. So a little bit more.
William is already raising their profile, and they'll play a much bigger role in the future. Even Zara, Mike, Peter, Beatrice, and Eugenie, while not on the payroll, may have more visible roles supporting key events going forwards. But there'll be no space for the Duke of York, nor a return for Harry and Meghan. For William, the focus now is clear: to shape the crown into something modern, meaningful, and worthy of trust. And at 43, the crown he's thinking about is not just the one he'll wear, it's also his legacy.
Thoughts?
I don't understand the crown he'll wear, but also his legacy. I don't understand that.
I think they're emphasizing, okay, it's not just what he's going to do, but he's committed to passing it on to George and making sure the monarchy doesn't end, which you shouldn't have to say. If this was a normal year or a normal era for the monarchy, when we don't have this question mark on its future.
And here's my other problem too, getting back to the whole he'll keep traditionalists happy. You're admitting in this profile that the monarchy is in a bad place in part because of previous monarchs. That's part of it. Not just that times are different, but that this has not been run correctly. And I also have a really hard time believing some of this when some of the actions around financial transparency have gotten worse with William, with disclosing what he paid in taxes on the duchy, if anything. With
show us, don't tell us.
Show us with the way that the relationships are going with the media, circumventing the media, going straight to social media.
So that clip is the kind of the soundbite that they want us to take about Prince William on his 43rd birthday. But what is the supporting text digging deeper into? Is there anything that we can actually grab onto?
So I read the piece, and for me, my takeaway reading the entire piece, which is on the Times, and it's called "Prince William Will Change the Monarchy by Those Close to Him." The deck is no Harry, more Sophie, and plenty of time with the kids. As the heir turns 43, he is also examining whether the institution he inherits is, quote, fit for purpose, which is a very big statement to make. And there is talk in there about leaving no stone unturned, kind of micromanaging and perhaps taking back power from the men in gray in some ways, which, I mean, good luck there.
Seriously.
I don't know how that's gonna go.
Mhm. No.
That'll be interesting. But for me, what it felt like, and I would have to go back and compare, it just felt like a rehashing of everything we've seen up to this point, but we've added in new royal engagements that he's done. You know, it's like he has shown that he's cared about the army because he recently went to this. He's shown that he cares about how he's going to use the duchy because he went to this. It's a lot of that kind of stuff. The earth shot. It's, you kind of see how his team has used the last 6 months or so of events where reporters have come along with him for
Mhm.
these moments of these trips of quote unquote impact, which is
Yeah.
his buzzword, which I'm
They
so glad.
acknowledge it's a buzzword.
I am
yeah.
so glad because I made a video about how Charles used the word impact, and I was like, oh my God, they are shading William. Someone's
Mhm.
like, you are people were really calling me out. I'm like, no, I will not be made to feel ridiculous about this. And when this article, I said, yes, finally, somebody said it.
It almost makes me wonder, like, when it is his turn, is this going to be met with resistance by those traditionalists, by the people who are linked to the way the institution used to run? I find a couple of phrases here sticking out to me very interesting. William has previously said that his grandmother's approach to being head of state was to take, quote, more of a passive role, but subsequently indicated that approach would change during his reign when there will be more private, robust challenging of advice. First of all, yikes.
Because what are you saying? Because the whole thing has been in the media that with some slip ups that the queen was always in charge and
She was
she had the
sharp.
fine to the end, which they let slip every once in a while, that it was really maybe her private secretaries and people influencing decisions, especially in the end. I still wonder about that decision with Camilla and the queen title.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm. But yeah, there are some things in here where I can't imagine this being said about if Harry said any of this.
Yes, exactly. Saying
And
the
not,
queen was passive?
I cannot believe there was no like, how dare he?
Well, then we do subtly I think subtly rebut it through a Jason Knopf quote. Knopf, one of William's closest confidants, has been alongside him for more than a decade, first as his communications secretary, then as chief executive of the Royal Foundation, now as the chief executive of the Prince's Earthshot Prize. Knopf is quoted as saying, "It's all an evolution, making it work for what people expect of him and leaders of his generation. The late Queen didn't keep doing the same thing for 70 years, and it won't ever feel like it's done. It will feel different, but not jarring. He'll want it to feel like a natural progression that people expect of him. If it feels like that, it will be a success." So the Queen did some things right, and you acknowledge that William's not going to reinvent the wheel here. It's going to be gradual, a natural progression. I just wonder when the time actually comes where he has to stand and deliver on this. What's it going to feel like? What's it going to look like? Who's going to be happy about it? Who's going to be upset about it?
I think everyone will be happy about it because they'll find whatever way to spin it.
Mm.
Because he will either be doing things like his grandmother in whatever positive way we can find to say it. And that's what got me
I
about
hate that
this.
you're right.
I hate that I'm right too. And that's the thing I walked away with this profile is it has no grit. It has no meat. It doesn't show you a whole person because
It
a
Yeah.
person is complicated and nuanced, and a profile should show that. A profile should challenge. A profile should show the obstacles someone will have or their potential flaws and their potential issues or things from the past or people who have concerns and worry, but that's hard to do when this person isn't It's not a meritocracy. They were born for this job. So how do you even really question that? But it leads to such an uninteresting piece.
I'm thinking back to that Vanity Fair profile on Harry and Meghan where they talked to Montecito residents, and you had one saying, no, we love them, and one saying, no, they're the devil and they're ruining our community. You have someone here, a source who knows the Wales as well, believing that William will keep things much simpler when it's time for his coronation. They also think William should break with the tradition of wearing the imperial state crown like his father and grandmother. That ridiculous thing that looks like it's out of Disney? No. What I most remember about that day, Coronation Day, were William and Catherine's robes, Catherine's beautiful, simple headpiece. I don't know if I would call that simple. And William wearing nothing on his head. Correct, because it wasn't his coronation. But then we just tack on at the end, William has not yet made a decision on which crown he will wear at his coronation, but is understood to feel sentimental about the imperial state crown's link to his father and grandmother.
I feel
So
like
it's like
they talked to a random dude at the pub.
you raised a question, got an answer, and then immediately rebut it in this. It's one paragraph. What are we doing?
It's so alarming to me that journalists don't even feel comfortable writing
Yes.
a well-rounded piece on someone.
Same thing here, like same thing, different font. There have already been small but significant shifts with William. Traditionally, the Lord Lieutenants of each county have welcomed senior members of the royal family to engagements, but they are rarely seen on William's jobs. A friend of the royal family tells me he often doesn't feel he needs to have the Lord Lieutenants welcome him so you don't see them. He doesn't need them. He doesn't need that extra layer of formality. Sources close to William insist he values the work of the Lord Lieutenants, but acknowledge the shift. And it's like, we can't say anything.
So what are
with
we
our
doing
full
here?
Chest,
No,
right?
because it would make traditionalists really bad. So how are you actually going to balance that out?
Yeah. We might need to cut this conversation short because this episode is running long.
I know. I was just thinking that.
But I'm sure we will continue to get shades of this, future
There
King
will definitely.
William. We're only a third of the way through the article reading those examples,
I know there's definitely way more to talk about, but I think overall we covered just the tenor, the tone of this piece and many like it. So we'll have to see what
it's
comes
that
next.
That same lens gets applied to his global statesmanship, the gulf between himself and Harry, his football fandom. Okay. You've seen this film before.
Seriously. And I didn't like the end.
All right. Moving along to something a little bit more lighthearted.
Sure.
Meredith,
Not when Meredith takes it over.
Okay, no, let me say this. We were scrolling through Netflix the other night looking for, we're paying for Netflix. We get it with our phone plan, ads included, whatever. We feel like we have to use it, right? Shane stopped and hovered over America's Sweethearts. And I said, oh, Meredith's going to die when I tell her this. And I said, we can't watch it because I need to go in blind to this deep dive that Meredith is doing right now. What do you make of that?
I love you for that. I love Shane. Let me just say season 2 dropped on Wednesday, June 18th. And I looked at my boyfriend and I said, you have to watch this with me. You've made films before. This is not a reality TV like Housewives where they're just sitting around screaming at each other. This is beautifully filmed. This is going to follow an arc. There is going to be stakes. It's going to do something deeper. Trust me. And he said, okay. We started an episode. They have great cliffhangers at the end of each episode that makes you want to binge. And he looked at me and he said, can we stay up all night and watch this? I said, yes, we can. And we freaking did. And we are screaming by the end about everything. We're like, no, Charlie. I mean, we were just, whatever. So needless to say, we finished it overnight and I had so many thoughts. I love a docuseries so much. America's Sweethearts is all about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and making the team. It originally was a CMT reality show that I didn't watch called Making the Team. I think it started in 2006. I don't know how long it ran. Recall, this is like the era in 2006. Like we're doing reality TV shows like The Swan when like women compete for like get like plastic surgery and like have to compete for like which Uggo looks the best now. I mean, we're doing really terrible things to women on TV.
I just saw one. I don't know what year exactly, but somebody, an influencer on my feed was throwing it back to a show called like The Butterface competition where women presumed to have a butterface, hot body, ugly face, were brought out on stage in a swimsuit, and their body was critiqued while their head was hidden under like a paper bag. And so they
Sounds about right. Yeah.
They rated the body and then they revealed the face, and it was brutal. This clip I saw.
Being a teenager in the 2000s was not great. So I've not seen the CMT show. I almost want to go back and watch because they show clips every once in a while and you're like, oh, this was brutal. This was a different show. This was kind of trashy. You know that it has changed a ton. And so one of the things I like about America's Sweethearts is, first of all, the girls aren't the joke because they call them girls even though they are women. These are 18 to 25-year-olds. They are not the joke. They are the focal point. They are not treated as a joke. But I'm fascinated watching a show in a post-Me Too movement and watching these women, Kelly and Judy, who are in charge, and they've been there for 40 plus years. They were Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Watching them try to use language that is appropriate now to talk about bodies and talk about the way the women look. Like, she looks better than she did last year, or she could use a makeover, or when they size them.
You can tell they want to say something just that would get them canceled.
Size these costumes to your body. It's stuff like that. And obviously they are able to really determine through their video submissions what kind of body type they are getting.
It's so interesting. First of all, I'm going to watch it. I need to watch it. It's interesting hearing the language need to be updated, but the system itself, much like the monarchy, honestly, is still what it used to be. We're just couching it in this up-to-date
And that's
language.
what's so interesting about it. And really the tension, and what I find so interesting and why I live for stuff like this is, in season 1, you're introduced to a bunch of different characters and their storylines. And kind of like American Idol and stuff, you get attached to some girls that don't make the cut and you hope they come back next year. And then you follow some girls, you really follow them through the season, and you're so proud. You're like, oh my God, they got thunderstruck. And then there's one girl where you're like, you just need to get out of Texas and away from your mother and explore the world and get some intensive therapy. You're going to be okay. This is not life. So you really find, your people, but you realize, holy F, these girls are really in an environment where they are told, because Charlotte Jones is the daughter of Jerry Jones, who is the CEO, president of the Cowboys. Cowboys financially were doing very bad in the 70s. They build up the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and to this $billion enterprise, this profit center, really. And the Cowboys start winning. They become America's team, in no small part to the cheerleaders. But as Charlotte says in season 1, well, the girls don't come here for money. It's an honor. They come here to dance because they love it. And it's that whole thing that women are expected to do things because they love them. They do it for the sisterhood, the volunteer opportunities. Money, that's uncouth to talk about. They do it because they find worthiness and they find their value, but they're not valuable in money. And it is such a tone-deaf answer to give. And what's interesting about season 2, so season 1 is a lot more sparkle and fun and yummy. Season 2 is a little darker though, which I love. Because season 2, what happens is, while season 2 is being filmed, season 1 is airing. And what the girls start to see is that people are reacting strongly to season 1 when they realize that a lot of these girls are working 2, 3, 4 jobs, plus being Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, which is elite athlete level shit.
Yes.
Like the stuff that they do and how they are expected to work.
I think I would simply pass away, first of all, if I was transported into the body of one of those cheerleaders.
It's exhausting to watch. And you're watching these girls. First of all, so many of them end up needing, after they're done, hip replacements. They don't get health insurance through this. And you find out that they're making roughly $15 an hour or something. It's bizarre. And they start trying to fight for better contracts. But it's really, and then you start to see the way in which the organization is trying to break up any collective bargaining, how they give the contracts to these 18-year-olds to sign who are afraid to lose this coveted position and not seem grateful enough. And the big thing that you see this season, and you've seen online, so I'm not spoiling anything, is everyone is celebrating this 400% increase. And I'm like, no, this is really bad, actually. It's good for the story because the Dallas Cowboys
Ties a little bow
organization
on it.
realizes, oh, we can make this look really good for the story and really good for the cheerleaders that fought for things. But I'm just sitting here going, no, I wonder what else is in that like, these girls need to be unionized. They need outsized representation. It is fascinating. It just has all the elements of a docuseries that I love. And I hate when people write off stuff like this. It's, oh, it's just stupid, vapid girl stuff. It's like, no, it's fun. You get the glitter and the bows and the hair and the crazy thing where they jump in the air and they do a split and they land on their vagina and it looks so painful. But like, you hear thunderstruck, and you're like, yeah, let's go. It is so good. I have so many thoughts. I'm definitely writing it on Substack about it. I totally recommend it. Like, watch it, go with it. It's a ride.
All right.
That's my pitch.
I think I will. I think you've sold me. I have
I'm so into it.
I have some literary recommendations, if you will give me just a moment. The other night, I introduced the event. I was working, but I also listened to an author conversation between Rob Franklin and John Vercher at the Midtown Scholar Bookstore. And so these are two Black male authors. Rob Franklin has previously written poetry and short stories, and this is his first novel. It's called Great Black Hope. That's on my TBR right now. It centers around a young queer Black man who gets arrested for cocaine possession in the Hamptons. So he's not an underprivileged, for lack of a better term, Black man, but he still gets pulled into this system. And then there's this tapestry, I would say, of other people in his orbit who have their own layers of privilege, but also they're in the Black community, they're in the queer community. And it's described as a dizzying journey through the New York City nightlife circuit. And I can't wait to start it.
My God, I need to read that.
Yeah. Listening to him describe his writing process was my favorite part of this talk, because he was talking about sometimes he'll read books or poetry or prose or whatever, and even if he doesn't get it, like doesn't know what's being talked about, he can still appreciate language for the beauty of it and the essence of the words being used. So I really enjoyed his approach to the craft of writing, and I'm excited to dive into his book. But first, I'm reading John Vercher's book, which has been out for, I think, about a year now. The paperback's coming out soon. Devil is Fine. And this is one where the narrator is a biracial Black man. He has inherited what he only knows as a plot of land from his estranged grandfather. And when he arrives to this land, he discovers it's a plantation. So this is a Black man who has now inherited a plantation that's been handed down on the white side of his family. So that's the premise of this book. I don't want to give too much away, but that's what I'm diving into first.
I am adding those to my list. I am almost done with. I picked up, so I went to my favorite. If you're ever in Denver, you have to go to Petals and Pages. It's a queer, independent, feminist-owned bookshop it is the cutest laid out place you have ever seen. You will die at what they have. And they had a book that's been reissued. It's Eve Babbitt's Sex and Rage. It's set in the 60s and 70s. It follows a woman who, it's like kind of almost like a hazy read. It reminds me of the Emma Cline book. Oh, I don't remember the name of it. It came out, I think, last summer. The name is escaping me, but it follows a woman who is kind of just falling around LA and the different characters she runs into and the spiral she falls down. But she's also a writer and full of self-doubt, and who can't relate to that? These situations she finds herself in. But like you said, like there are parts where I'm like, I'm not appreciate but I appreciate the language of it and like the color and like the sensation. It feels like a really good book to read now, just like with the aesthetics of today. It's a really good book, though.
That does sound intriguing. I just love listening to authors in conversation with each other, even if I haven't read the books yet. I feel like that sells me more on whether I want to read the book than anything else. I also have, if you're here for just the vibes, I have to tell you, Season 3
Please.
of The Gilded Age is coming out in like a week. No,
No,
maybe
it came
this
out.
week.
It came out last
It came out
night.
yesterday. It started last night.
We didn't have power and internet last night, so I couldn't watch episode 1. Apparently, it's like very good. Like the first.
I heard this
it
is the
was
best
very good.
season yet. Yes. So if you haven't yet watched The Gilded Age, it is Julian Fellowes of Downton Abbey fame, you know, his second big series that he's showrunning. Set in the 1880s in New York City, The Gilded Age follows some fictional characters who I think are inspired by real life. And I think that this season is going to revolve a lot around Bertha, the mother, and Gladys, the daughter, who
Thank God.
I believe are based on the real life Consuelo and Alva Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So she's going to try and shill her daughter out to a duke. I have no doubt of that. That's the crux of this season.
Carrie Coon Hive, stand up. It's our moment.
Rise up. But if you were interested in more of that era, I would highly recommend 2 books. The real life Consuelo Vanderbilt, who would be like the Gladys character, she wrote a memoir. It's called The Glitter and the Gold, all about, you know, being married off, becoming a duchess, and then ultimately divorcing from the Duke of Marlborough. And there's also a fictionalized novel that follows her life as well. It's called American Duchess by Karen Harper. I read that a couple years ago. It's very good. It gives you the beats and you get inside Consuelo's head in a way that like is just there's a lot to chew on there. So those are my recommendations to support your watching of The Gilded Age for season 3.
Yeah. So while you're dealing with this wet bubble or whatever the media's calling it, or weather channels, or
what?
There's like a
The
wet
what?
bubble or something. Hold
What does
on.
that
Don't
mean?
act like I'm disgusting. Hold on. Excuse me. It's a bulb, not a
bulb.
bubble.
That sounds better. Wet
refers
bubble.
to the concept of wet bulb temperature, which is a measurement of heat and humidity that indicates how effectively sweating can cool the body.
Huh?
Shut up. No, hold on. National weather. You're definitely
humidity versus dry heat.
I don't know. I thought something was happening about the weather.
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
I thought there was a wet bulb thing.
You're acting like this is your first time in humidity, Meredith. Can I tell you what the humidity is right now where I am? I don't think you're going to
I'll tell you my
ready.
humidity level if you tell me yours.
Ooh.
Listen, if you're going on a date, here are the questions to ask to get it steamy,
What's
okay?
your humidity level? 60%.
Oh.
96 is our high today.
Okay, well, that's foul, and
Which makes the blowout I did this morning all the more laughable.
Okay, our humidity, ew. This is why I'm having trouble. Our humidity is 57%.
You're not far behind us. So this is what I deal with every day.
Okay, that explains so much about my life right now.
I'm looking at
I wasn't made for
now.
this. I wasn't made for this.
Sure, the humidity in Edinburgh right now is 69%, but the high is 61 degrees. So, like, I can live with that.
No, I cannot deal with stickiness. I no longer can. I have limits. I'm a woman of a certain age.
So if you're suffering under the wet bulb conditions as opposed to dry heat is what we're saying. What are you recommending, Meredith? Did you forget that was where that was going?
Yes, I recommend reading indoors. One of these books. I brought it back.
Reading indoors and enjoying your, as ever, apricot spread. Did everyone get their apricot spread?
That's our final note, because as ever, we dropped some products, and we had Times, we had newsletters. I mean, the new marketing company got some stuff out.
Can I be a hater for a second? And this is not a Meghan Markle thing. As someone who, I'm a content creator,
sure.
I also wanted to see what was new. And I was trying to put together like a little giveaway of things because I was like, okay, they're upping the stock. They said they're ready. They said 11 a.m. Eastern. When I logged on at 11 a.m. Eastern, nothing was in stock. 11:01, 11:02. Okay, apricot spread is in stock and the orange blossom honey. Nothing else was restocked. It came in like these drips and drabs to the point that it was very frustrating if you were on the website at 11 a.m. to effectively shop this restock, because when you add things to your cart, it says if you spend $50, you get free shipping. I couldn't spend $50 if I didn't want to get multiples of various things because nothing else was in stock. And then when stuff started getting restocked, the shortbread cookie mix, the crepe mix, the teas, I was like, okay, now we're cooking with gas. Added it to my cart, went to checkout. I have over $50, so I get free shipping. The honey was out of stock. This is the Orange Blossom limited edition honey. And I'm not saying they didn't have enough. What I'm saying is the system set up on the website failed for this.
Something
type
happened
of
on the back
restock.
end, and I'm
Yes,
not
and
sure
I don't really
what.
understand why, because the site is platformed on Shopify. It's a shop checkout, which I think you could have all those logistic pieces figured out. So that was frustrating. Am I mad at Meghan Markle personally for it? No. But it did, I think, underline the fact that this restock was maybe a little rushed. Maybe we were not quite prepared, and I don't even want to call it backlash. The pushback we were receiving for saying new stuff coming in early 2026, restock happening kind of soon. I think that got under somebody's skin as ever. And they said, okay, well, we have this stuff. Let's go now. But it wasn't, it was successful. Don't get me wrong. Almost everything sold out. This morning, I believe there were some apricot spreads still available when I looked. Oh, now it's sold out. Maybe that's because I posted it on my story with a link. Everything sold out, so that's successful. But in terms of consumer experience, I don't think this is what we want or what Meghan wants going forward. So that was my experience with the As Ever restock. But bear in mind, that is at a microscopic level of attention. This is the time when Meghan's fans are going to be shopping and they don't really care about those hiccups. Fine, whatever. For longevity's sake, I hope that those things get ironed out.
Yeah, I also think, because what I noticed too, and what almost tripped me up, was that the raspberry spread,
spread never came back.
Said coming soon. And after a while, I realized something is wrong. That should have been a hidden widget.
It's not included today, yeah.
And I just wish they had hidden the widget.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so I
don't
didn't get
know
my hopes up.
What happened on the back end, but that should have just been hidden. And I wish they had just done a better job of updating the of having everything as coming soon instead of sold out, because of course you had a lot of people being like, oh, everything already said sold out when you got on the website.
Got on. Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, because it just hadn't been updated properly.
Like the stock wasn't available for the website
then they
to pull.
I just think there were a couple things on the back end that they could have done to make the experience look a little better. As somebody whose pandemic hobby was, for whatever reason, I decided I'm going to do nail dipping. I'm going to get really into nail dipping. And these limited drops of these like special.
This is a world I know nothing about.
I wish I didn't. I got rid of all that stuff. I was terrible at it. I don't know why I acted like this was a thing. But limited drops of like these special colors or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was totally my thing. And I got really good at checking out super, super fast and ordering like, so I was ready for this drop. I wasn't messing around.
Yeah.
I got everything I wanted. I accidentally got 3 apricot jams. I didn't mean
giveaway. I'm saying we should do giveaways.
I think we should. I was trying to figure out how much shipping was going to be though, because I was like, I
got a couple of extra things, so I'm thinking
maybe
I'll host one on my page. But maybe we both host one and like direct people to follow Off With Their Headlines to be entered.
Well, let's talk about that. Yeah, I can give away a spread.
Yeah.
So I got that honey. I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't get the honey the first time. I was like, I want that honey.
I wanted the honey. I was merely curious though. So like,
I just
I'm
want
not
the experience.
I didn't get it.
No,
I'm not I'll put honey in my herbal tea, but like that's kind of it for me. I'm not a honey aficionado.
I'm not crazy about honey, but I just really wanted to try it. Also, I'm not going to do the rosé because I don't drink. So rosé is not crazy. Like that wasn't something that I'm crazy for.
Yeah. So the rosé is coming July 1st, which is another indicator to me that maybe this restock and this drop was all supposed to happen on July 1st and we moved it up a couple weeks.
Perhaps. It was also weird to me because looking at it too, I thought, so was there only 2 new products?
Yes.
Again, it felt kind of weird, and it also made me think, long term, what are they trying to do here? Because is it supposed to be like there will just be consistent things in stock and you can just go there and shop like a normal person, or is it always going to be these kind of drops? Because although they said we had 10 times the inventory, well, based on what exactly?
Right.
What kind of numbers are we moving? And I will say, like, I am totally a sucker for getting into that excitement of, there's like a new drop.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
I love it. I do love that stuff. And I'm not going to pretend like I
don't.
don't.
Though, I will say.
Yes, I definitely have worked on that.
Yes, because I don't think it's a good hobby,
Me
for lack of a
neither.
better term.
But I won't lie. When I saw that little those pictures, that kind of cottage core, like we can be calm and cool and cute at home. I need a little of that right now. I need a little of that joy and calm. And I said, I want to make that apricot whatever thing in that bowl that she has on that perfect outdoor table. I want a little of that in my life, okay?
I still got flour sprinkles from last time. We can make this happen again.
Exactly.
Now, according to the website, Meghan's next drop of the rosé, anyway, we have no idea if there will be a restock of other products included here, will happen on Tuesday, July 1st at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. The description for the rosé is soft notes of stone fruit, gentle minerality, and a lasting finish. They also say this bespoke blend is launching just in time for summer entertaining. July 1st, I'm not sure. I think summer starts Labor Day, or not Labor Day. I think summer starts Memorial Day weekend, which means June 1st. But
I do too. Do we know when her Netflix show?
We don't. I heard later this summer. Maybe
because
soon.
I was wondering about that. I was also thinking that a lot of the recipes that she does, I could see a social media strategy where you are bringing back a lot of the recipes from her first season that would pair well, I would think, with a rosé. And I thought about it now. I'm like, she really was pouring some drinks in that first season, which I'm all here for. I'm not making any sort of.
There's a write-up in Marie Claire where they say, what does Meghan regularly pair with the food she makes on her show? Wine. What is everyone's go-to hostess gift? Wine. So
it's pretty smart.
It makes sense. No, it's absolutely smart. The timing of it, I think, is revealing that there might be still some kinks to work out. But hey, I'm not being a hater. I'm just being
pointing
critical.
things out. I just love the Daily Beast. Wow, Meghan's confusing brand gets even more confusing, boozing it up now.
Confusing. I don't think that's confusing.
What
I think
could be any less confusing than wine?
I think it's funny if you're going to be European and act confused about alcohol, because I've a couple times ordered the Highclere Castle, which is the Downton Abbey setting. They make gin. It's delicious. I've ordered a couple times now. They deliver it to my house with no ID check. Like, I don't even think you need to show the delivery man your ID. They just dropped it off at my house. So, why are we acting confused that Meghan is getting in on the wine game?
In California when she has a lifestyle brand? Shocking. Can you believe it? In what world?
So you said you're not picking up the rosé?
No, I don't drink.
Yeah.
It's just not something I'm going to be kind of tussling over. I'll wait. I'll leave that one to everyone else and let everyone fight over it.
I think I might too. I actually inherited a wine cellar kind of deal from my great aunt when she moved into an apartment that she didn't want to take her wine collection with her. So I'm still drinking my way through that. Yeah, that says all you need to know about my family. So I'm still riding so many questions on that stockpile. So I don't think I need to add Meghan's jam or Meghan's wine.
We'll add the jam. We'll hold the wine.
All right. Well, did we do it? I think we
did. I don't think we have time for anything else today. Let's just thank let's
thank our people.
All right. Before we go, thank you to our Patreon press secretaries, who we would never try and undermine them because we trust the running of this castle. Okay.
You have job security.
Yeah. Let's be real. Molly, Nikki, Lulu, and Jessica, we thank you so very much. And obviously, our crown jewel, our Order of the Baby's Breath, Sir Christopher.
Thank you so much.
He's beauty and he's grace. He's king of
outer space.
50 states. All right, this has been another fun episode. If you want videos and other stuff, go over to Patreon. And if you want to watch the videos a week later, go over to YouTube and leave us a review over on Apple. It helps people find us, and we really like nice ones. Until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.